Philip Klein joining us, of course, here on 1813 Fair Warning. Of course, the guru, the head gun
Yeah, I
at
don't know
Kelly's
about
Texas
that.
Political Review, and he is back with more on our political races, which have taken some stunning turns here in the last few days. Who is the odds-on front runner? We start with the big observational question. We start at 30,000 feet, sir. There's an odds-on favorite. You know it. Who is it?
Yeah, I think it's
Man.
gonna. I think it's gonna come up to a pick one or pick two. Actually, I think it's going to be probably Roy West. Although I've said this before and I'll say it again. Don't ever count out WL Pate. I mean, that Huckabee stuff works for him. And I saw a Chamber of Commerce debate with him, and he looked good, and he had some good comments in there. Roy did too. And then, of course, the black community. So let's talk. This is what day is this? This is Wednesday. We've had 2 days of full early voting, only 1,800 votes in early voting. I mean, please, really? That means nobody's coming out to vote. I mean, the media can say whatever they want to say about it. That is horrible. 1,800 votes in 2 days. That's just horrible.
Well, maybe
or maybe my expectations are high. Well, you pick it. But I kind of really, I feel like I'm the Dave Portnoy of politics today because I'm going so many different directions here. All I need is a pizza. The bottom line here is that there's only 1,800 people that have voted. If you break it down, you really can't tell because because of Jefferson County Courthouse still under their carry the COVID flag restrictions.
Right.
And I think people are just scared to get out, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's just a slow burn going on out there. But I would pick right now, if I had to pick, if you asked me, Philip, who do you think's ahead? I'd say Roy West, fresh face, and then pick one other candidate with WL Pate kind of bringing up the front of the pack.
In the public lately, the candidates for mayor were asked this question in 2018 and 2019. Per capita, Beaumont compares almost apples to apples per capita with Houston as far as crime is concerned. You've said it for a long, long time. You said that Beaumont has become kind of a like Port Arthur, a central hub for criminal activity. Those numbers would seem to bear that out. And yet not one single person had a substantive campaign promise, at least, that said, here's what I will do to fix crime. All address the idea of crime happening more in the youth community. But Philip Klein, I ask you, as a journalist responsible for these matters, why haven't you fixed this by now?
Well, that would be one of the first things that I would ask them if I were ever hosting a political debate. Yeah. Remember, government does great things, okay? Everybody thinks I'm anti-government. I'm not anti-government. Think about this. Police, fire, EMS, roads, bridges, sewer, water. Right. Well, maybe not in Beaumont water, but sewer. So you put all these things together and I hear a little bit about infrastructure, but all I hear is about, well, we're going to build this in the South End to have a community center. Here's the deal, Kevin. Politics today is in a mode of let's make the people happy. Let's not worry about crime, fire, EMS. Let's don't worry about all that. Let's make the people happy. That's where we are in politics. Now,
promises.
It's feel-good politics is where we are. Now, let me take a breath and take a step back. Last night, we had a horrible stabbing in Beaumont last night. Mm-hmm. Beaumont PD, I can't say enough about their CID division. They're killing it. Everybody, and that's a bad term, I would think, but anybody who gets... Exactly. Who a homicide happens. These CID investigators, they're all over it. Jimmy Singletary has put together a team of people where he is the last stand on crime in Southeast Texas. I'm telling you, if Beaumont goes Port Arthur way, bye-bye Jefferson County. And in fact, we're almost there. Yeah. But I don't hear a word out of any of these mayoral candidates, let alone the city council candidates. Where is everybody talking about crime?
Specifically on the question of how to, sort of remedy some of these problems with crime, the answers would veer into diversity questions. The answers from at least two of the candidates was more training. Philip Klein, do they need more training in the Beaumont Police Department? Or
no, I don't think so. If you were to ask me that question
what's going
15 years
on?
ago, well, if you were to ask me that question 15 years ago when some of the police officers were walking around beating people in their knees, I would say, yeah, probably we need, a little bit of training. But no, Beaumont Police Department is far better as a police department than anyone had ever dreamed they could be under Chief Singletary. Chief Singletary's problem is they've got a union that's out of control that has hitched their pony on some really bad candidates, and they're going to be looking like fools at the end of it. Some of the internal polling I have seen, every single one of the candidates that the Beaumont Police Officers Association has endorsed will lose. If that happens, there needs to be a huge leadership change in the Beaumont Police Department union.
What's going to happen?
That remains to be seen. Who knows?
What's going to happen in the Mike Getz race, in your view? What are you hearing on the streets?
I think Getz is going to win it at 50. I'm going to go out on a limb here again. I feel like Dave Portnoy the day. I've 56%. I think he's going to be 54 to 56%. I believe that's where he's going to be.
And then it'll be like The Godfather. He'll attack all of his political enemies.
No, I don't think that's Getz. I think Getz is, Getz is
on re-election. What do you mean?
No, think about Getz. Has Getz ever been wrong? He's never been wrong.
He's been spectacularly wrong.
When?
Many
one instance.
Many times. Now, I give you credit.
Give me one instance.
He brought the In God We Trust insignia to Beaumont Police. But you know what? He says.
Oh, here we go again. Good feel.
Okay.
Where has he been wrong on water, sewer, police, fire, EMS? All the things that is important. He hasn't.
He promised that the AT&T building, for example, down there, they're so far back on taxes on the AT&T.
Oh, I know. Well, who broke that story?
That was insincere.
Yeah, who broke that story? Where's that story been?
Yeah, but you need to be saying Mike Getz is insincere when he says that, he was the savior of the whole deal.
I don't think he was the savior of the whole deal. I think he was a big part of it. But I'm talking about, that's all feel-good stuff. That's all quality of life stuff. What I'm talking about, and downtown is dead. It's never coming back. Look at Port Arthur downtown. Motiva's bailed out. I mean, it's just, it's a cluster. And it's not going to get any better. Everybody, all these political officials want to build their downtowns. Why? Why do you want to build downtown?
Well, because it's a central hub of any city and would vastly, because you can't keep growing out and out. If you grow out and you grow out here and this other thing dies, if downtown dies while the suburbs continue to grow, that's not what you want. You want
the citizens of
the suburbs.
Kevin, you're right. But if the citizens of Beaumont, as the citizens of Port Arthur, wanted to have a strong downtown, they would move downtown. They would do everything there is downtown. They keep talking about this public and private unity working together.
Yeah.
Come on. In the end, our tax dollars should go, again, police, fire, EMS, water, sewer. People in the West End and some in the South End are getting brown water out of their taps.
Yeah.
Do you think they care about downtown or clean water in their taps?
Yeah.
They worry about clean water. That's where we need to focus. Until you fix what's wrong in Beaumont, which is, by the way, there's a lot wrong, you're not going to be able to develop downtown. You're not going to be able to develop the South End.
Yeah.
And having these candidates run around, this Smith woman, Miss New Yorker, I think what did we call her today on the review? We called her Candyland or something like that. She's running around feeding the communities. She has more money she spent from, she's got OPM disease, other people's money disease. She goes around and buys lunch for everybody at all these restaurants, Alana's and all these Mexican food restaurants in the South End. And you go, wait a minute, aren't you supposed to be having posters and get out there and get the vote? So we called up to the AG's office. We find out what she's doing by buying everybody lunch is illegal. You can't buy votes. Now you can have a buffet at a meet and greet, but you can't take a bunch of people to lunch. And that it's just, we've got a bad disease in Jefferson County. It's called OPM, other people's money. And you get these elected officials and they just want to go hog wild with other people's money. One of the things I will tell you about a conversation I had with the current mayor, Becky Ames, 5 years ago, where I found out they put a plaque up at a sewer treatment plant, a gold plaque up in the middle of the woods in a sewer treatment plant that cost the city, I think, and I may be wrong on the number, I think it was $7,500. And I said, why would you put a plaque up at a sewer treatment plant? And the answer was, because we can. What? I mean,
one of these matters, it's a matter of policy. It's just the way we've always done it. So it's the way we're going to do it.
I don't know. I don't know. And I'm not trying to say, look, I'm not trying to say anything horrible or terrible about Becky. I like Becky Ames. I mean, I've been a big supporter of Becky Ames all the way back to the 2000s. But of late, you can't be Queen Bee, get your nails done, and just, Becky made a huge political issue, and this reflects in the mayor's race. So let me get through this. She got caught getting her nails done. She denied it, didn't happen, deny. That's typical politics, okay? Yeah. I help these candidates, but it's political nightmare for them when they do that. What I told Becky she should have done, and what I've said very clearly on the review is, hey, yeah, I did it. I broke a nail. I had to appear on national TV. I did, I wanted to make sure things were right. And, and everybody would have gone, okay, she's an honest woman. She did it. Now, she didn't do that. She said, oh, well, I just went in the back door and just happened to meet the nail tech. And, and so that hurt her. Now, let's bring that issue over to the mayoral race. Every single one of those candidates is so scared of their own shadows. Look at Mouton, who Ames is supporting. Mouton's so scared of herself. She got on. I just was watching the Channel 12 debate right before we got on here. I got about 38 minutes into it, and all I needed was my blankie and pillow to go to sleep. I mean, they're so scared to say anything or get out in front of issues.
That's what I mean. No specifics.
There's no specifics. But I don't like brown water.
You love it, yeah. Well, the water situation, the drainage situation. But you keep loving these guys that keep talking in these ambiguity. You love Roy West. Oh, you just love. I mean, to read you is it's.
I don't have a horse in the race, obviously. But do I love Roy West? I think Roy West has come out with some pretty good specifics. Here's my point. I'm kind of out with the old and in with the new.
He keeps saying metrics, citizens advisory committees. What has he got that's specific?
Well, he has had some good specifics, Kevin. He's had some great specifics on the sewer system in the South End. They're still getting poop and pee coming out of their toilets in the morning when the morning rush hour starts. The water lines that are breaking in the South Side. Here's my position. I'm good with Roy West being mayor because remember he's one vote out of what 5, 6. He's one vote out of 6 or 4, 2, 4, 5.
He has no experience.
One vote out of 4.
Telling us he wants citizens.
Let me finish. What that does is that takes Pate out and that takes Mouton out. That's 2 people on there. That's a big change right there. That's going to shake up the voting block. Now, no one likes to talk about Felshaw. Felshaw, and I think we've deemed him pastor politics. I have a very big aversion to pastors getting involved in politics. You're either in politics and out of the pulpit, or you're in the pulpit and out of politics. Okay. I believe that fully, completely. I don't know what Falshaw's end game is. but I think there is an end game somewhere in there. I smell a higher office out there somewhere, simply because he's saying the things in council, and he says the right things. I mean, he's he tries to be Pastor Peace, but then behind the scenes he's Pastor Politics. I just smell something coming there. I think Falshaw will win. So there you got Neal, Falshaw, and you got the end of the voting block, which is Getz, and I think West will go with them, which will shut down the other 2 seats, and I think we'll get somewhere. The big question behind the scenes is, what are they going to do with the city attorney and the city manager? And there's huge rumblings out there that there's going to be a huge change in the executive offices up there. I don't think Getz is actually involved in it, but I think Getz will go along with whatever West wants to do. And I think West is kind of indicated he wants a change.
I can assure you Mike Getz wants a change in the city attorney and the city manager post.
Everybody says that about him, but when I interview him, he's very, when I interview Mike, he's very, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll see what kind of issues there are. And he's very pragmatic with me. He's not radical with me. And I'm Mr. Radical. So, I mean, I would think a radical would enjoin a radical. But I haven't seen that out of him. Now, what I have seen is I've seen the silent underpinning. Audwin Samuels, I mean, this guy's got more baggage than a 747 on its way to Tahiti. I mean, this guy, bankruptcies, judgments, he owes 941 fees. That crap that happened in Old Town where he tried to open an office without all these things he's accused Getz of doing and Taylor of doing and all these other, he's acting like he's the golden boy, that he's upset. Newsflash, Audwin, you have no credibility. And I guess that's part of the problem that I'm thinking about here is that, the other point when Audwin recognized or kind of quasi-recognized David Moore, and Becky Ames comes up and says, "Oh, David Moore," and I forget the term she used, a dignitary is here. Wait a minute, a dignitary? Isn't David Moore the one that lost his mayoral seat and got indicted by a federal grand jury and went 2 years to prison?
Everybody gets a second chance.
It's the rebirth. Well, the only thing that didn't happen that meeting is the pastor didn't throw holy water at him. That's the only thing that didn't happen. I'm being real with you. That's a fact.
I have to return to this crime because as somebody who works so closely with law enforcement, I have to close us off today with this question of your views and observations on the Chauvin trial, the conviction, not on the manslaughter, on all 3 of the counts. Conviction, I think he faces up to 40 years in prison. You probably saw a lot of that.
I did. I monitored it every night before I go to sleep. I'd watch the points of the testimony. Okay, here's the bottom line. I have a theory and a saying that I tell people all the time: everybody's at fault, but no one's to blame. If this young man, Floyd, had gotten out of the car and complied and hadn't put the 2 Darvocet in his mouth or whatever the drugs were and swallowed them, we wouldn't be in the position that we were. If he stepped out of the car and said, "Yeah, I got drugs and I don't want to go to jail, but I get that I'm going to have to go to jail," none of this would have happened.
Derek Chauvin was not trained to stay on the neck area.
Exactly. Now, on the other side of the coin, again, everyone's at fault. This young man didn't do what he was supposed to do, and he didn't follow the orders of the police. On the other side of the coin, Chauvin did more to hurt law enforcement than any police officer I think I've ever heard of before in my life. He had him down. He had him handcuffed. He didn't have to put the knee in there. He's at fault. The convictions were good. He should have been convicted in what he did. And there's no doubt in my mind of that. There's no doubt in my mind. But my point is, let's not lose the full picture here. The full picture is if our guy hadn't complied, Chauvin wouldn't be where he was. I think what the bottom line is Chauvin is going to spend the rest of his life in jail. I'm not so sure that this case isn't going to be overturned. We'll do another thing on this if I'm right.
Because the Maxine Waters matter?
I think Waters and Biden. Really did a bad gig. That's why they tell you when, I used to work for one of those guys, a president. And the first thing they tell everybody is say nothing. Don't say anything, because anything you say can be misinterpreted by a jury, can be misinterpreted by the community, can be misinterpreted by the voters. Just don't say anything. And when the president says something, that's why he reads off the cue cards. So Biden screwed up. Waters screwed up. Waters should be at least censured. I think she should be censured. She has a responsibility. Should she be taken out of Congress? No, she's just a loudmouth, and that's just what she is. I deal with these people all the time.
It rose to the same level of incitement of violence that they put toward the president, the former president.
That's a political debate. And do I agree with that political debate? Probably. Yes.
Yep. Oh, Philip Klein, is always great to talk to you, but we'll have to get back with you in about a week and ask you some additional questions about this upcoming race, which is about.
Yeah, I'd like to talk a little bit next time you and I get together. I'd like to talk a little bit more in depth about the ward races, because I think that there's some very, very important ward races in there. We got some criminals in there. People have been convicted of felonies. We got people. You go down the list, and it's just a mess, financial messes. And these guys want to run Beaumont?
Yeah,
Are you kidding me?
Man, you got it so wrong. LaShawn Proctor is such a Beaumont resident. He is. I saw him just the other day. He was here in Beaumont.
Well, good. I'm glad he was in Beaumont. I hope his house with
and you don't realize the campaign numbers. The campaign finance reports were spot on.
Mm-hmm,
Guys
spot
had
on.
Previous money
spot on
in previous campaigns.
1 + 1 = 9. Right. Got that.
Mathematics.
Got it.
Love you. Always love you. You make me mad, but I always love you, brother.
Love you, Kev. We'll see you soon.
Thanks again.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.